typically with the big I'm going to shut that music off. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about, excuse me, a little bit about politics and me. And I'll tell you why. This is the first time I've gone live on YouTube. I haven't been able to do it before, haven't done it before. And, I'm working on the lighting. We're setting up our podcast. Let me tell you about the Been There, Done That podcast real quick. I'll tell you a couple things going forward. We've got us three guys. We're all in our 60s. I'm 67. My brother's 4 years younger than me. He's a 100% disabled vet. I'm 100%. Been to war and all that kind of stuff, did our thing. And we've got another gentleman who's not here today, and it would help me out. I didn't call him. But he's our producer, director, board operator. We've got our video mixer, our computer, our soundboards going on. And so we got a lot of things happening here. It's going to be a multi-camera video podcast. My brother's up in Suwannee County in North Florida. I'm on America's Space Coast, the east central coast of Florida, Brevard County, Florida. We're the home of Cocoa Beach, Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, Kennedy Space Center, Patrick Air Force Base, that's now a Space Force Base. And so, America's Space Coast. What we're going to talk about in the regular Been There, Done That podcast is things that might help people. People suffering, it's going to be our personal experiences in life. We're not lawyers, we're not doctors, we don't give legal advice, we don't give medical advice. We talk about the things we've been through in our own lives, the things we've, been there, done that. And our goal is to reach out to people who may be struggling, who need a helping hand, who need a little bit of hope. We can give our experience, strength, and hope. We can talk about the things we've been through in life and how we got through it and came out the other side. For example, I've got end-stage emphysema, COPD. Now, you can live with that for years. And, I may go into some exacerbation that takes me down the tube tomorrow. I may take my Harley out and get hit by a bus or dump it or something. I mean, nobody knows. It's all in God's hands. So that's what we're going to be doing and in the future. But I'm looking for another platform to talk about politics. So I have to create another profile or another page or whatever you want to call it. The podcast, Been There, Done That. It's going to be here on YouTube. We've got a lot of shorts loaded up. We've got some long-form video. We're on Facebook. We're on X. We're on Twitter. Twitter is X. TikTok. So we're all over the place, and we hope to even be more ubiquitous as the future goes on. We're looking into Rumble, we're looking into Patreon, and some of these other platforms. So Apple Podcast even. So we're going to be looking into it. We're going to be growing. And we're going to have guests in the studio. We're going to have guests that call in. So we've got a lot of options. We hope it's not going to be a boring show. We hope it's going to be useful, utilitarian. There are a lot of groups, and some of them are rehab groups, addiction, sobriety, recovery and all that stuff, recovery groups, called Been There, Done That. As far as I know, you can't copyright a... Reconnected successfully. I guess we're going to go in and out. So, all right. Well, see, this is some of that crap that I'm learning, some of the stuff I'm learning. All right. I've always been a political animal. I did 20 years in the military, United States Air Force, and I'm a disabled vet. I swore the same oath my son did, my brother did, my father did, tens of thousands or millions of you did. I solemnly swear, to protect and defend, or to support and to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. We all wrote a blank check, up to and including our lives, to support and defend the Constitution. And as I went through my career, that took on increasing importance in my life because of some of the things I had to do in the military, and we'll talk about that. OEF, OIF, Iraq, Afghanistan, all those things happened after I retired. And default browser, oh, get out of here, all this pop-up garbage. Anyway, in about 2008 or so, I started doing AM talk radio here in Brevard County, Florida, Melbourne, Florida. I started out on AM 1240 WMMB. Excuse me. with a gentleman named Bill Mick with the Bill Mick Live show in the morning, 6 to 9. And Bill's a great friend. We umpired baseball together is how we actually met. And then he left for a period of time and went out to California, did radio, came back here. And I was driving to work one morning. I was a death investigator for the Brevard County Medical Examiner's Office. And I, tuned on the radio in my county van as I'm driving to work and sipping my coffee. And I heard Bill Mick. He's back in town. So I called in his radio show and commented on what he was talking about. And so we kind of renewed our friendship. And he asked me one day if I would come in on Monday mornings. And my levels still look good. If you're out there in listener land, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, or if I'm too loud and eating the microphone, So anyway, Bill started having me in on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. with another gentleman named Bruce Wexler. Bruce Wexler was a big L libertarian, and I think I can describe him that way, and I'm a conservative Republican. I'm more independent, but Florida has closed primaries, so you've got to be a member of a party to vote in a primary, and I want to vote in a primary. So I'm a registered Republican, but I'm libertarian leaning, and I'm more independent. Like I said, I'll agree with politicians when I agree with them. I'll speak out and I'll say so. When I disagree with them, I'll speak out and say so. But I try to do it in a way, if they're politicians. I started doing AM talk radio on AM 1300. I started doing AM talk radio on AM 1300 WMEL. And we went out and we worked as, my brother and I, he was my cameraman, sound man. We worked as reporters for AM 1300. Back in 2012, you remember, it was an election year. We covered Mitt Romney's Republican primary campaign stop in Port Canaveral, Florida, Cape Canaveral, Florida. We covered Newt Gingrich's campaign stop in Cocoa, Florida. And we covered President Obama's re-election campaign stop at Florida Institute of Technology, which is now Florida Technology. They've changed the name. So we worked as a reporter. We worked some other high-profile events here in Melbourne, Florida, Rockledge, Brevard County, Florida in general. So, and while I'm on the topic of Bill Mick with the Bill Mick Live show, AM 1240, I owe Bill amends. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I have end-stage emphysema. I've got a lot of stuff, and that's generally the theme behind Been There, Done That. So we talk about how we've survived these 67 years in my case. But Bill Mick was a good friend, and I was in the midst of my drinking while I was doing radio with Bill. And we didn't leave on the best of terms. I kind of dropped out of sight. I had a big fight with the other guest, Bruce Wexler. I was in the wrong. I was in the wrong with both of them. I was drinking heavily. My disease, alcoholism is a progressive disease. But I also, what I know now, and I didn't know then, I've got PTSD. The VA has diagnosed me. I've got persistent depressive disorder and anxiety. I'm not making excuses, but everything has a context. And so that's kind of my context. I've been recovering now for about 8.5 years, since October 2017. I'm phenomenally better, but I still owe some amends out there, some apologies and some amends. If I can do anything for Bill Mick, he was always such a great friend. He taught me the ropes in radio. He gave me a platform to start speaking out with, and he's a good man. And he's also a retired law enforcement officer from, was it Huntington, West Virginia? Somewhere in West Virginia. But I really like Bill. I always enjoyed umpiring with Bill. And he's a professional umpire. And with the independent leagues, he's much, much better than I ever was. But anyway, I love Bill as a brother in Christ, as a good friend who gave me a start in radio, taught me the ropes. He got me through the FCC training. I went in a few days when his engineer, Jorge George, needed some days off, and I engineered a couple of live football games, and he taught me how to do that. And I had a lot of fun, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now doing this were it not for Bill. So Bill, if you ever see this, brother, I love you as a brother in Christ. As a fellow law enforcement official, a fellow Leo, I love you. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything that you did for me. And my apologies for everything I actually did or may have done unknowingly. um, to hurt you, your reputation, your show, or anything else. You have the best listeners around, and I appreciate them. Anyway, enough of that. So, anyway, I speak out politically because I'm a very outspoken person anyway. My family's military history goes back to 1775. And near as I can figure, I've done some family research, but it's an unbroken chain pretty much up to now. My son's in right now. I've had a nephew in the Marine Corps. So I've had my disagreements with President Trump. I disagree with the Trump accounts because there's no basis for them in the Constitution. And as I alluded to earlier, my focus is on the Constitution and my understanding of the Constitution as the founding fathers wrote it and implemented it. And that's the basis of my politics. To the extent the Republican Party is on board with that, I support them. To the extent that they're not, I speak out and I don't support them. I don't support Democrats at all. I wouldn't vote for a Democrat on a bet, a dare, or a drunken binge. My dad was a lifelong registered Democrat, and he told me one time, he told me he was a lifelong registered Democrat, but he never found one worth voting for. And I haven't either. And the Democrats proclaim to be the great grand protectors of our liberty and our civil rights and our Constitution, but nothing could be further from the truth. Let me see if I can play something for you, okay? Let me see if I can play this. I want to get the right one, you know. And let me see. Let's see if this is it. Well, why is that not firing off? No, not you. Good Lord Almighty. Folks, I'll get you there. Hang on. I'll get you there. There we go.
But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute.
You hear that? That's Joe Biden, right?
But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute.
Right? Now, Dianne Feinstein has said that, and little Chucky Schumer has said that. But if you go back and read the Bill of Rights, it's written in completely absolute terms. Congress shall make no law. That's how the First Amendment starts. Second Amendment has in there, shall not be. Shall not be. You know, I've seen it, right? One side of my face is lit better than the other side. I got to get some curtains up there. I've got shades, blinds. And so even though they're closed, the sun still gets me. I've got my lighting set up here, but it's not equaling me out. So I know I got to work on that. So you guys bear with me as we just start this stuff out, please. So anyway, shall not be infringed. The Third Amendment we won't bother with because there's no real danger of that right now, but it talks about we won't quarter troops in our properties forcefully, during peacetime. And the Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments, search warrants, right to remain silent, the right to counsel, and all these different things that usually the right to private property get jumbled up all in the Fifth Amendment, but it's 4, 5, and 6. And so, but the one people forget, the one everybody forgets and nobody talks about, the Ninth Amendment. And you know what it says? And I can't quote it, but paraphrasing, the enumeration of certain rights in the Constitution will not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. That's the Ninth Amendment, right? So it doesn't have to be enumerated in the first 10 or anywhere else to be a right. Now that's where the courts come in, correctly come in. All right, so now, the 10th Amendment, of course, it talks about states' rights, and it establishes the fact